Good evening on this day, 1189 of the Trump administration, 195 days remaining until our presidential election. The president started today's White House briefing by saying there was, quote, a lot of tremendous news out there about reopening our country. He said, quote, people are getting ready and they're all excited. It is clear the president was not happy with the headline or the plot line of the story that came out of there yesterday. His CDC director telling the Washington Post that a second wave of illness this coming fall and winter could be deadlier than what we're going through now, especially when you factor in flu season. The CDC director was summoned forward to sing for his supper, in effect, and proceeded to admit the quote he gave the Post was right. Dr. Fauci then got up and said, quote, we will have coronavirus in the fall. I am convinced of that. There will be coronavirus in the fall. He added, thankfully, we'll be better prepared. President was having none of that today. He said, quote, you may not even have corona coming back. It's possible it's not going to come back at all. The president has also started saying if there are so-called pockets or embers of coronavirus, quote, we'll put it out very fast. He said all the world leaders he talked to today said it was incredible that you solved the ventilator problem. He said if he'd done nothing, quote, we would have been so infected, nobody would have believed it. He said testing for coronavirus is, quote, very much of a media trap. He said, we're going to give everybody what they want with the testing. He says, we're taking care of our seniors, quote, other than me. Nobody wants to take care of me, he said. He said Georgia is moving too soon to reopen tattoo parlors, spas, and hair salons, even though he said, quote, I love these people. Tattoo parlors, bikers for Trump. A lot of them have tattoos. Along the way, he mentioned the Obamas and Oprah. He said, we know more about Iran than Iran does. He promised air shows in the skies over our country this summer. And he compared his 4th of July crowd in Washington last summer to Dr. King's speech at the Reflecting Pool in terms of crowd size. He said they were very similar, according to photographs he's seen. But we return once again reluctantly to the real world tonight, where the U.S. death toll stands at more than 46,000, with over 833,000 confirmed cases of coronavirus. And in midst of this health crisis, the New York Times reporting the head of the federal agency working on a vaccine has been reassigned to another agency. Dr. Rick Bright argues he was effectively demoted after pushing for extensive vetting of hydroxychloroquine. That's the drug Trump has pitched relentlessly from the podium in the White House briefing room. Tonight, the doctor issued a statement that reads in part, quote, I believe this transfer was in response to my insistence that the government invest the billions of dollars allocated by Congress to address the COVID-19 pandemic into safe and scientifically vetted solutions and not in drugs, vaccines, and other technologies that lack scientific merit. I'm speaking out because to combat this deadly virus, science, not politics or cronyism, has to lead the way. Bright goes on to say he is filing a whistleblower complaint formally accusing administration officials of retaliation. Here is how Trump responded when asked about Dr. Bright.
Never heard of him. You just mentioned a name. I never heard of him. When did this happen?
This happened today.
Well, I never heard of him. If the guy says he was pushed out of a job, maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. You'd have to hear the other side. I don't know who he is.
Just yesterday, a veteran administration study found this hydroxychloroquine showed no benefits for COVID patients and, in fact, was linked to higher death rates. Over the past several weeks, medical experts have expressed reservations about the drug and about the president's comments on its effectiveness.
The FDA also gave emergency authorization for hydroxychloroquine. We're having some very good things happening with it. It's shown very encouraging, very, very encouraging early results. There are some good signs. You've read the signs. I've read the signs. And I say it. What do you have to lose? I'll say it again. What do you have to lose? Take it. If things don't go as planned, it's not going to kill anybody. It will be wonderful. It'll be so beautiful. It'll be a gift from heaven if it works. If some other person put it forward, they'd say, oh, let's go with it. what do you have to lose? Try it, if you'd like. I've seen things that I sort of like, so what do I know? I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor, but I have common sense.
And again, today's White House briefing started with that remarkable attempt at a cleanup and a backtrack. As we mentioned, the director of the CDC told the Washington Post that a simultaneous flu and coronavirus outbreak this fall and winter, quote, will actually be even more difficult than the one we just went through. This evening, the CDC director tried to somehow revise his warning with the president there at his side.
Dr. Robert Redfield was totally misquoted in the media on a statement about the fall season and the virus. Totally misquoted. I spoke to him. He said it was ridiculous.
I didn't say that this was going to be worse. I said it was going to be more complicated or more difficult. Doesn't mean it's going to be more impossible. Doesn't mean it's going to be more, as some people have said, worse. It just means it's more difficult.
You were accurately quoted, correct?
I'm accurately quoted in the Washington Post.
There you have it. The president then followed up with this assertion about a second coronavirus outbreak with that key follow-up from Dr. Fauci.
It may not come back at all. We have embers of corona coupled with the flu. That's not going to be pleasant, but it's not going to be what we've gone through in any way, shape, or form.
We will have coronavirus in the fall. I am convinced of that.
So as our country prepares for whatever comes next from this virus, there is now a COVID-19 coalition of southern states preparing to try to restart their economies over the next week. And tonight, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp said he's moving forward with his decision to allow salons, gyms, and other businesses to open Friday, despite the president's surprising take on that decision this evening.
I told the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, that I disagree strongly with his decision to open certain facilities which are in violation of the Phase 1 guidelines. At the same time, he must do what he thinks is right. I want him to do what he thinks is right. But I think spas and beauty salons and tattoo parlors and barber shops in Phase 1, we're going to have Phase 2 very soon, is just too soon. I think it's too soon.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.